Who are we talking to?
Ourselves.
Welcome back to the Mc&Marren podcast for Justice League June. As you heard, Tori's back.
Hi.
Yep.
Hello.
You will have to defend Batman v Superman when we get to it next week.
If we get to it.
Okay.
You weren't here to defend that.
Oh, so I wasn't here to defend it, so I automatically have to defend it later. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you for accepting my absence. I gave you no choice.
Yeah, we kind of had to go with it. Anyway.
Things happen.
Yep.
So, for third week of June, we are just part one for our Batman movie.
Batman.
Why don't you
Yes.
tell us what movies we'll be covering?
Yes. Before we get into those, like always, I have some fun facts about the character we are talking about. And like Colin said, we are talking about Batman, the Caped Crusader, the Dark Knight Detective, and my all-time favorite superhero. So, after the unbridled success of their flagship character back in the early days of comics in the 1930s, DC Comics editorial requested more superhero characters. So Bob Kane and Bill Finger took up the challenge. Bob Kane initially drew a character with red tights, bat wings, and a domino mask. That was the first iteration of Batman, folks.
Red tights.
That's a choice.
Bill Finger, on the other hand, made significant changes to the character, including adding a cowl, cape, and gloves, and a darker costume, and making him more bat-like. However, Bob Kane was the one who negotiated the contract with DC and signed away ownership of the character in exchange for, among other things, sole mandatory byline of all Batman comics, which is why in every Batman comic ever, and including almost every Batman adaptation we saw, Batman, created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger, is not listed at all. In other words, Bob Kane really kind of screwed Bill Finger there. He did not get credit until 2015 with Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, where we finally got to see Batman created by Bob Kane with Bill Finger for the first time. Batman was inspired by several other characters, including Sherlock Holmes, Dick Tracy, the Scarlet Pimpernel, and Zorro.
I'm sorry, the what?
The Scarlet Pimpernel.
Explain?
I'm not hearing that word
The
right.
Scarlet what?
Pimpernel.
What is a puppernil?
I don't know.
The Scarlet Puppernil.
The Scarlet Pimpernel was a kind of like a makeshift aristocratic character that dressed up in a different costume to fight crime.
Okay. It sounds like something I would watch on Saturday morning PBS cartoon specials.
Most of us know the parody the Looney Tunes did, the Scarlet Pumpernickel, played by Daffy Duck.
If you say so.
So, Batman debuted in Detective Comics number 27 in 1939. In his early stories, Batman wasn't against killing his foes and actually even used guns. It wasn't until Batman number 1 in 1940 where DC editorial said, "No, you can't do that." So Batman no longer uses a gun and Batman no longer kills his enemies.
I have a problem with that.
Don't worry, Jason will fix it later.
Batman did eventually become the main feature in Detective Comics, beginning with issue number 35, and about 5 issues later, another premier character made his first appearance, Dick Grayson, aka the First Robin.
Batman!
Batman and Robin teamed up with Superman in World's Finest Comics, which premiered in 1941. As the years went on, Batman's stories became darker, with stories such as The Long Halloween, The Killing Joke, and A Death in the Family. Much like Superman, there have been numerous adaptations of Batman, including a 1966 live-action series starring Adam West as Batman and Burt Ward as Robin, who unfortunately Adam West passed away in 2018. My personal favorite is the GOAT Batman animated series voice actor Kevin Conroy, who unfortunately we also lost in 2022. So, first up, we are going to be talking about the 1989 Batman film starring Michael Keaton. Numerous writers was tasked with writing the script, including Thomas Mankiewicz, who wrote 4 James Bond films, but he died before the script was complete. Other writers included Ivan Reitman and Joe Dante were brought in, but ultimately did not get to say the final script. Other directors were also picked for the role of director, including Wes Craven and Sam Raimi. However, Tim Burton accepted the role as director. Much like the Superman film, several big names were considered for the role of Batman, including Mel Gibson, Steven Seagal, Kevin Costner, Charlie Sheen, Tom Selleck, Bill Murray, Harrison Ford, Dennis Quaid, and even Pierce Brosnan, and a very young Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, no, I don't see it.
Your face.
I don't see a lot
Willem
of those.
Dafoe.
I'm sorry.
The Green Goblin himself.
I'm sorry. I'm still stuck on Eddie Murphy.
That's what you're stuck.
I didn't say Eddie Murphy.
I thought you said Eddie Murphy.
I said Bill Murray.
Oh, Bill Murray. That's even worse.
Different
Okay, in my defense, I went to work today. My brain is gone.
So did I.
I'm sorry. I'm stuck thinking of the Green Goblin himself.
Willem Dafoe.
For the Joker, several other big names were also considered, including Tim Curry, who, fun fact, was also the original voice for the Joker in Batman animated series before Mark Hamill.
But was deemed too dark.
David Bowie, John Lithgow, Ray Liotta, Brad Dourif, and James Woods were also considered. Tim Burton originally also wanted John Glover, and Robin Williams was also interested in the role, but ultimately went to Jack Nicholson.
So interestingly enough, about all of those people who were selected, I mean, with the exception of David Bowie, even though David Bowie is had a prowess to him, they all are very strong voice work.
Mm-hmm.
They all have a lot of very strong voice work.
Yep.
Well, it's the Joker doesn't have a lot in terms of looks going for him.
No.
Okay.
So ultimately, for the role of Batman, Michael Keaton was cast. However, at the time, it was very controversial because Keaton was seen as a comedic actor, and a lot of people didn't think he would handle such a serious role very well.
Well,
He dresses as a bat and fights the mentally ill. What? How much funnier can you get?
and this would not be the first time that Keaton and Tim Burton worked together.
No.
Sorry.
Tim Burton and Michael Keaton worked on an earlier film called Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
It's showtime. Batman, the 1989 Batman film was a massive success, earning over $400 million at the worldwide box office, and those who were skeptical of Michael Keaton were forced to eat their words, and and Tim Burton's direction was also praised for the film. The music was composed by Tim Burton collaborator Danny Elfman, along with songs by Prince.
Sorry, it's just anytime you say Tim Burton and then you say music by, if the following name is not Danny Elfman, it's not Tim Burton.
Yes.
It's like Tim Burton, Danny Elfman, Tim Burton, Danny Elfman, Danny Elfman, Tim Burton.
Yep.
Did you get Danny on the phone?
Yeah, it's like
Danny can't make it. Well, then we're not making it.
We can't
till
make the
he can.
movie. We can't do this till Danny can.
Nope. So, in the movie, photojournalist Vicky Vale travels to Gotham and teams up with reporter Alexander Knox, played by Robert Wool, to do a story on about a mass vigilante known as the Batman. Hoping to get answers from Commissioner Gordon, played by Pat Hingle, and District Attorney Harvey Dent, played by Billy D. Williams, at a charity event run by Bruce Wayne, where they actually meet the famous billionaire. However, they don't get any answers. At the same time, crime boss Carl Grissom, played by Jack Palance, who voiced Sir Rothbart as the villain in the 1994 animated film The Swan Princess.
Oh.
Yeah, that was actually one of his last roles. Along with his second in command, Jack Napier, played by Jack Nicholson, decided to break into Axis Chemicals to retrieve some incriminating evidence against them. However, Jack and his crew were caught by the police and Batman, and during the scuffle, Jack is dropped into a vat of chemicals, which gives him that permanent smile, white skin, and green hair, turning him into the Joker. As the Joker commits various schemes, including poisoning Gotham with lacing various hygiene products with his deadly chemical Smilex. Released balloons laced with the same gas upon a crowd of various onlookers, but each time he is stopped by Batman, angering him. This results in a final showdown where Vale is kidnapped and Batman must rescue her. He ultimately does so, but after learning that Jack Napier was the one who killed his parents when he was 10 years old, he ultimately lets the Joker fall to his death.
Now let's talk about it.
I was going to also point out, this is also not the only Tim Burton movie to feature the chemical Smilex.
Oh?
It also makes an appearance in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Ah. So this must be used later on in another Tim Burton movie later on.
Yes.
Okay. So, all right.
Also, music by Danny Elfman.
Yes. Well, again, Danny Elfman, Tim Burton. Tim Burton, Danny Elfman.
Anyway, talking about the movie and the plot and the characters and how they work.
Mm-hmm.
First off, it's got to be easy having someone play a role with the same name.
Yeah, Jack Napier, Jack Nicholson.
So when we say Jack, we're talking about you.
Yeah, it's like when we call action Jack.
Who are we talking to?
Ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So Jack Napier was actually one of the famous aliases for the Joker, but in the comics he doesn't really have an actual alias. His real name is unknown.
He goes by many names. Joker, Jack Napier,
Ace of Knaves, Jester of Genocide,
Joseph Kerr.
Take your pick.
But I feel like making the Joker the one who kills Bruce's parents an interesting choice, because one, that's not who kills them.
No.
And I have not seen Joker, the second Joker movie. I saw the first one.
The one with Lady Gaga.
That would be the second one. He's still the first one.
Yeah. I thought you said the second one.
No, I haven't seen the second one. I've seen the first one. And the first one, it ends, and it does the same thing where Joker causes chaos. That chaos leads to
The Wayne's being killed.
Yeah. So it's like, I get what you're trying to do, and the whole Batman creates Joker, Joker creates Batman kind of thing. I just think Joker, as a agent of chaos, doesn't need to have an origin story.
No. Also, I do agree with you that having Jack Napier be the one that kills his parents kind of creates like this, tit for tat, like you said. It's like, they even say that in the movie. It's like, I made you, you made me first. And it's just like, that kind of just creates this strife between the two characters, because the whole idea of Batman is that it was a random act of violence, and that's what created the character. And I don't think having Joker being the one that killed his parents was necessary.
And also, by donning the costume, becoming Batman, and reducing random acts of violence.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's, we just have to get rid of this one guy, we gotta get vengeance on him, then we can just pack up and go home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we haven't gotten to the other ones yet, but in my humble opinion, Michael Keaton is the best live-action Batman. He plays...
If we're talking movies.
If we're talking movies, yes. He plays Bruce Wayne as, this guy who's somewhat aloof, but yet always there. He knows more than he's letting on. And then as Batman, he has, he has this presence where it's just he knows what's going on, and everyone else is trying to figure out what else is going on.
It's Japanese. How do you know that?
Because I bought it in Japan. I'm sorry, who are you? Oh, I'm sorry, Bruce Wayne. Are you sure this time?
He also plays the Bruce part very well, whereas a lot of people kind of forget that Bruce Wayne is the cover.
Yeah. with like a lot of actors, you can and it's kind of a lot more relevant nowadays, where it's like you can have an actor who's good as the alter ego or the civilian identity. It's very rare that an actor can portray both very well. I mean, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, and a couple of others from the MCU, yes.
But we're not talking about Marvel.
With the DC movies though, it is kind of hard to get that connect where it's like you have an actor playing both the superhero and the civilian identity very well.
Where they have to play a character who's playing a character.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing Batman who's playing Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
But this is a problem that's going to be seen in all live-action versions of Batman movies, where they're too serious all the time.
I'm so serious.
They got more serious after Keaton, did they not?
Yes.
And yes,
with each Batman gets more serious.
And yes, Batman is
That's debatable.
Batman as a character is very
not debatable. With each iteration, Batman gets more serious and Alfred gets more fed up.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to be talking about it later on, but Val Kilmer and George Clooney are more serious than Michael Keaton.
You want to get nuts?
Come on.
Let's get nuts. Yes, they are more serious.
Oh my god.
But what I mean
okay, continue, Colin, while we have a spat about this.
Okay. While yes, Batman as a character is very serious, brooding, he's not like that all the time.
No.
There are, as Shrek would say, layers.
Yes.
But everyone focuses on the seriousness and not the silliness. I remind you, this is a guy dressing up as an animal to beat up the mentally ill.
That's...
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Is that not the plot?
Not every one of Batman's villains has a mental illness.
Most of them end up in Arkham.
I have a copy of the DSM-5. Shall I go get it and we can go through the villains?
Not everyone has a mental illness. Does Bane have a mental illness? Does the Scarecrow have a mental illness? No.
Yes.
Bane? No.
Both of them have wound up in Arkham.
Only Scarecrow has been in Arkham. Bane is locked up in Blackgate.
Okay.
Really?
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe not this year, but maybe next year for Justice League June, we can take the DSM and we can analyze everybody in the Batman world.
Also, we're also going to get into this with the sequels we're about to talk about here.
Mm-hmm.
But talking about Superman for a second. Superman gets one, maybe two villains from his roster in movies. Batman gets a good portion of his rogues gallery.
Yep.
Of course, you got to work in the Joker in there. He's the favorite villain, shall I say? And then just get everyone else.
Well, you know me. I go to Marvel for heroes and DC for villains.
And what do you think of Jack Nicholson as a Joker?
I like him as the Joker.
I like him too.
I felt the kind of sly gangster meets it's been a long day, I'm at the end of my rope, and I'm going to make it everyone's problem, because you get to this point, and I feel like anyone who works full-time has come to that crossroads where you have a moment where you're just like, I laugh, because if I don't laugh, I'm going to cry. And if I do that, I'm going to burn this office down.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where Jack's at.
Yeah.
He is at that point in his life, and he's decided to be happy about it and make it everyone's problem.
I mean, to be honest, when I first saw this movie and Jack he's meeting with all the crime bosses, and one guy's like, what if we say no? And he's like, well, no one wants a war. We'll just shake hands. That'll be the end of it. And he shakes his hand, and he gets the joy buzzer, and he starts electrocuting him, and he's like, oh, you're a little hot under the collar. It'll be a hot autumn in the old town tonight. I started laughing hysterically.
Also,
yes, he's a funny Joker.
Yeah.
Also, let's be honest. How many people, when you talk about Batman movies, you specifically talk about which version of the Joker you're watching?
Yes.
Rather than who's playing actual Batman.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the whole point, is that the Joker is a loud, colorful, crazy clown who demands to be the center stage. I mean, there's been several episodes of Batman animated series where, actually, there's one that comes to mind where Harley Quinn actually has Batman on the ropes, but because the Joker didn't do it, he lets him go and throws Harley Quinn out a window. Because he wants to be the center of attention. He has to be the guy that stops Batman. If it wasn't him, it doesn't matter.
Also, before we move on to the next movie, falling off a building, killing Joker. We've blown that guy up in a helicopter and he walked it off. Nothing kills
To
this
take
crazy
the line
clown.
from Suicide Squad, how are you not dead?
It's like, how did that kill him?
Yeah. But going back to the layers of Batman, though, if you want, if those are interested, if you're interested in an animated TV show that expresses how silliness but yet seriousness of Batman, I highly recommend Batman: The Brave and the Bold. It is very funny, it is very colorful, but it can be serious when it wants to. It's a great underrated series. Do we want to anything else we want to talk about of the 1989 Batman film before we move on?
Prince did a great job.
He did. That song is catchy.
I think overall it was a good step in the water
Yes.
for Batman as a character.
Yeah. Vicky Vale was kind of like...
Did we need her? No.
She was just a love interest. She was kind of like the Lois Lane to Batman, I guess.
Yeah, but Batman's love interests are a lot better than Vicky Vale.
Although, what's funny is that Alfred was the one that let her in the Batcave.
Alfred.
Yeah, it's like you
What
can see that in the scene. Like
part
Bruce Wayne's
of
just like, dude, really?
What part of Secret Identity?
Alfred don't care.
Nope. All right, let's go on to the next one. So the next film was made in 1992, called Batman Returns.
Baby, I can beg you to a kiss from a rose on the grave. Yeah, sorry.
Burton originally wasn't interested in doing a sequel, but was given more creative control over the film, so he therefore said yes. So Burton originally wanted to have Marlon Brando play the Penguin. Dustin Hoffman, Christopher Lloyd, and Robert De Niro were also considered for the role, but ultimately Danny DeVito was chosen. In the original script, the Penguin was portrayed as the abrasive gangster, but writer Daniel Waters and Tim Burton decided to make the character more animalistic, hence why the Penguin in this movie has flippers and a lot more feral, for lack of a better word. There were several actresses who were considered to play Catwoman, including Annette Bening, Cher, Bridget Fonda, Madonna, Julie Newmar, Susan Sarandon, and Kim Basinger. But ultimately, the role went to Michelle Pfeiffer, who, in my opinion, was perfect. Perfect for a Catwoman. Originally, they wanted Two-Face to be in the movie, but he was replaced with Matt Schreck, an original character for the film, played by the legendary Christopher Walken. Funnily enough, Robin was also supposed to be in this movie. Marlon Wayans was cast as Robin, and the costume sets and action figures were all created, but ultimately were cut. And what's funny enough is that Marlon Wayans still receives residual checks under the contract he signed.
Nice.
And
Sometimes it's important to get a good contract.
And also, fun fact, Burgess Meredith, the actor who played the Penguin in the Adam West TV show, was actually going to be cast as the Penguin's birth father, but he fell ill, so Paul Rubens, aka Pee Wee Herman, was cast instead. So, the plot of the Batman Returns. Years ago, two wealthy socialites, the Cobblepots, were horrified to find that their newborn son Oswald is severely deformed and feral. So they decide, like any good parent, to just toss their baby into the Gotham River, where he is brought to the sewers and arrives in an abandoned zoo and is raised by a family of penguins. Yes.
Like you do.
Like you do.
Cut to present day, Gotham City is ready to celebrate Christmas. However, a new gang is on the rise called the Red Triangle Circus Gang, and they wreak havoc in the town square, where Max Schreck is taken hostage. But it is revealed that the Penguin is the leader of the gang, and blackmails Schreck into having him rise to the surface. At the same time, soft-spoken receptionist for Max Schreck, Selena Kyle, finds out that his power plant is actually going to suck away power from Gotham instead of giving it to Gothamites. So to keep her quiet, he throws her out of a high window. Again, like you do.
People tend to scream very loud when you do that.
It's Gotham. It's every Tuesday. However, she is revived by a bunch of stray cats and goes through a complete identity crisis and becomes Catwoman. The Penguin and Batman fight over ideals and ultimately have a showdown where the Penguin is unfortunately killed. However, Selena Kyle also develops a romance with Bruce Wayne, and they must figure out a way to love each other despite being on opposite sides of the law.
Yep.
So, obviously, we have two new villains for this movie, Catwoman and the Penguin. I was not I love Danny DeVito. This version of the Penguin is iconic, but as I read more Batman comics and became more known to the character, I'm not a fan of the whole direction they decided to take the Penguin in. Because the Penguin in the comics is just a really short, pudgy guy with a hooked nose with affinity for birds and umbrellas, but he is also the hub of all the information in Gotham. He knows everyone, he knows all the illegal activities going on, hence why he is the top gangster.
He's not some mutant, evil Quasimodo.
He's not some deformed monster. He's just
evil with a shtick.
Yeah. So it's just
which is enough.
So again, love Dan DeVito, love Tim Burton, but I don't think this. And also, raised by a family of penguins. How comic book, and this is saying as a comic book fan, how much of a comic book origin story can you get? Also, the penguins come back in the film's climax. Oswald Cobblepot straps a bunch of little missiles to him and sends them out to destroy Gotham City.
Like you do.
Yes.
Therefore, killing the penguins.
No, the missiles are shoot off the penguin's back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, he doesn't kill his family.
You never know with these guys.
Yep.
Cute and cuddly, boys.
Cute and cuddly. Although I think those penguins would actually do agree with Oswald Cobblepot.
Kaboom! Yes, Rico. Kaboom!
There is the crossover we didn't know we needed. We need Penguins of Madagascar and DC Comics.
Yep. And then we have Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, who I really loved. She's iconic. She portrayed the character perfectly. Although I am, again, as I read the comics and developed and read a lot more about the character, I'm not really a fan of her being revived by a bunch of cats and then going through the complete 180 personality shift instead of just being inspired by Batman and, becoming a thief.
Because they do that in the Catwoman movie too. But I believe in the comics, it's just she has a brush with death and that she doesn't actually die. She just survives a brush with death. And it's I need to change my life.
Depends on the version, but essentially, yeah, she just has a major life crisis. Is either saved or inspired by Batman to come up with a custom identity, either to fund her lifestyle or to get herself out of squalor. She becomes a thief, and then she teams up with Batman on occasion, becomes a love interest, and then
one of them,
but their end game for me, Batman and Catwoman. However, and then if I can go on a rant here for a second, so
rant away.
DC Comics, after the New 52, they decided to rebrand again, so titled DC Rebirth. And one of the major plot points of the Batman books was that Batman proposed to Selina Kyle. And they were going to get married and become a couple. Like, full-on husband and wife. There were several books leading up to Selina meeting Damian, meeting the rest of the Robins, meeting every other Bat family imaginable. And then all the other villains also possibly getting ready for the wedding, trying to stop it, or kidnapping Selina Kyle because now all of a sudden Batman really loves her. And then in Batman number 50, the wedding issue, Selina gets cold feet and runs away, leaving Batman at the altar. All because this was a plot by Bane to break Batman again.
Emotionally.
What? What are you doing, DC? You are so afraid of breaking the status quo for Batman, you cannot allow him this one little thing of happiness, but no! I'm done. I have not bought a Batman book after that. I was so mad.
He was very mad. Like, he even got the special version of the comic book where they include a copy of the wedding invitation. He was so excited. And then nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
He was very upset.
I was so mad.
We'll get into the other love interest when we get to Dark Knight.
Yeah, that'll be next week. Now I will say, also the Penguin coming across, hitting on Catwoman, really creepy.
What?
Really creepy. That was not really necessary, not really needed, especially for, granted this movie was PG-13, but a lot of kids when they go see it, so it's like, I don't really think that was necessary. Trying to think if anything else. Christopher Walken as Matt Shrek was also entertaining. Was very entertaining.
Yes.
Although I love how his Shrek Industries is essentially like Walmart. Or
we're not pointing that out. Shh.
I'm just saying
not sponsor.
I'm saying his department store was like Walmart, but his mascot was like Felix the Cat mixed with Mickey Mouse.
I will say, on the topic of Catwoman being revived in the live-action movies, directly from death, I get that it's comic books, and no one stays dead forever. But we already have a way that people in DC can come back to life via the Lazarus Pits.
Lazarus Pits.
I don't think we need to add cat baptism to the list. What else would you say?
We have the Lazarus Pits, we have Superboy Prime punching a hole in reality, we have Kryptonian technology, we have basically anything and everything to bring a character back to life.
Cat blessing. You are now revived.
Although I love Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, the fact that she was revived by cats, and then at the end of the movie, she says, she has 9 lives, so she can die 8 more times and then still be alive. And it's just like, okay, that is a little too much. That's a little ridiculous. And this is coming from a movie where a man dresses up like a bat and fights a deformed penguin man. So yeah. Ultimately, I think Batman Returns was a very good follow-up, but the 1989 Batman film was much better.
Agreed.
Because I feel like this is Tim Burton when he's fully let off the leash and can do whatever he wants. Whereas in the first film, it definitely had his style to it, but it was a lot more restrained.
Reined in.
Yeah.
It's like you can do everything you want within the boundary.
Yeah. Or he had an editor. In Batman Returns, he didn't have an editor. He was basically allowed free reign to do whatever he wants, and it was good. It just was not as good as the first. All right. Anything else you want to talk about before we move on?
I just want to say, imagine someone just was suddenly in Gotham, had no knowledge of comic books or anything. Just suddenly they're in Gotham as if they were in New York, and they hear, "You don't want to run into the Penguin." And the sheer confusion.
Sorry, our cats are causing chaos.
But the sheer confusion of, you don't want to mess with the Penguin.
The what?
The flightless bird? Is there a runaway penguin from the zoo?
A rabid penguin from the zoo. All right. Next up is Batman Forever. While Batman Returns was a financial success and got good reviews, Warner Brothers was ultimately disappointed with the box office, and some audiences considered it a little too dark for a young audience. Tim Burton decided not to return, and Joel Schumacher was chosen as Tim Burton's replacement.
I'm sorry, this is the one where Kiss from a Rose is the song for it.
Ah.
Never mind.
While Keaton initially wanted to return as Batman, he ultimately decided not to because of the new direction the studio wanted to take for the character. While Burton originally pushed for Johnny Depp and even Kurt Russell to be recast as Batman, Ethan Hawke was also considered, but ultimately Val Kilmer was cast as Batman instead. Again, Robin Williams was in discussions to play the Riddler, but ultimately turned it down, and Jim Carrey was cast as character. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop right here. This is the second time that Robin Williams was interested in playing a Batman villain. Why didn't we let him play the Riddler? Because why?
We don't want to see him get punched.
We like him in good guy characters.
But he played a bad guy in Law and Order, and he was actually really good at it.
No.
Ultimately, Jim Carrey was cast. For Dick Grayson, the first Robin, several actors were considered, including Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Mark Wahlberg, Ewan McGregor, Jude Law, Alan Cumming, and even Alan Cumming was also considered.
You said Alan Cumming twice.
I messed up in the script.
Okay.
But Chris O'Donnell was ultimately cast. However, there were a lot of clashes behind the scenes with this film. Schumacher described Kilmer as childish and impossible. And also, Tommy Lee Jones, who was cast as Two-Face in this movie, recast from Billy D. Williams for the first one, was also a course of strife. He even famously said to Jim Carrey, I do not approve of your buffoonery." Whereas if you actually saw the movie, you'd be like, wait, you don't approve of Jim Carrey's buffoonery, but yet you acted a lot more silly than he did. Yeah, make that make sense, ladies and gentlemen. So in this movie, Batman faces off against Two-Face, who was Harvey Dent, obviously was a former district attorney. During his latest hostage crisis, he is a psychologist named Dr. Meridian Chase is brought in, who is played by Nicole Kidman. And Nicole Kidman, Chase is immediately taken with Batman. However, a Bruce Wayne Industries inventor named Edward Nygma, who desperately wants Bruce Wayne's attention, creates a device called the Box. However, Bruce Wayne does not approve of it because apparently the box connects with the human's mind to create their thoughts onto reality. And he famously said, it just raises too many questions. Stifled by Bruce Wayne's rejection, he ultimately becomes a villain himself, and he becomes the Riddler, leaving riddles for Batman to find at his crime spree. However, on a date with Dr. Meridian Chase to Haley's circus, Two-Face ultimately kills Dick Grayson's family. Bruce Wayne takes Dick Grayson in. He ultimately does not like it. Ultimately, he finds out that Bruce Wayne is Batman, wants to join him, and ultimately becomes the costume character Robin. So now, Batman and Robin must face off against the Riddler and Two-Face to stop their crime spree.
So let's talk about some of the choices here, such as, again with the making the villains, again with changing villains so they kill important characters' parents. Yes, the Flying Graysons are killed by
crime boss Tony Zuko.
yeah. That's not Two-Face. You didn't have to make it about Two-Face and Dick Grayson, okay?
Yeah. Also, in the movie, Two-Face killed Dick Grayson's family in a very public way, whereas Tony Zuko poured acid on the trapeze strings, or on the trapeze ropes, therefore having them fall, making it look like an accident.
An accident.
So, so obviously this was also a recast of pretty much everyone, except for Commissioner Gordon, who is again played by Pat Hingle, and Michael Gough as Alfred Pennyworth.
The best Alfred.
Yes. What did you guys think what did you guys think of Val Kilmer as Batman as compared to Keaton?
He's okay.
Yeah. It's not my favorite Val Kilmer role.
Unfortunately, it was sold as a continuation of Keaton's Batman.
Yep.
So, when you go and it's not Keaton, it's very much not Keaton, you feel kind of robbed.
Yeah.
And it's not anybody who was in the previous except for Alfred
And Commissioner Gordon.
and Commissioner Gordon.
So you're wondering, is this a sequel?
Or
Is
did
this
we
a
just start over?
Reboot? What's going on? I do appreciate that we brought in Robin.
Yeah, because like it or not, Batman fans, Robin is instrumental to the character. Now, in this movie, they actually do try to keep to Batman's dark origin a little bit, but the tones of trying to keep some of Batman's darkness and trying to make it bright and colorful and a little silly don't really work very well. The two don't mesh. At least not in this one.
I want to bring up the fact that in the comics, Bruce is at Haley Circus.
Mm-hmm.
Having a night off, not being Batman, being an actual regular person.
Yep.
And he's like, okay, I haven't been to the circus in several years. He's like, I can enjoy my night. Everything's fine. Alfred's like, finally, maybe I won't have to actually spend money on a therapist. And then Bruce shows up the following morning with a circus orphan. Just one night where things don't go wrong.
I forgot to mention this earlier, but Batman Forever was released in 1995. But yeah, in the comics, Tony Zuko was the one who killed Dick Grayson's parents, and seeing a similar tragedy to his own, Batman takes in Dick Grayson as his ward and trains him up as Robin, and ultimately, Dick Grayson grows up to become the hero Nightwing. And then he has several other replacements as Robin.
It's also weird seeing Dick Grayson so old.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be 8.
10. But yeah, it's
around
weird.
that.
It's weird seeing Dick as like a 16 year old.
Pretty much fully grown adult.
Yeah, who didn't just like, oh, he's resigned to your care. He's a legal adult. He can do whatever he wants.
Because the whole point is seeing another child going through the same thing he did.
Yeah.
Which kind of lose that when the child is not a child.
Yeah. And like that's a similar thing where it's like he's trying to quell.
I get it's probably because they didn't want to deal with child actors.
Mm.
But still.
Yeah. I do really like the fact that they actually do tie in the name of Robin, because apparently in the movie that he was saying, Dick was saying that his father fell and he caught him. He came in like a robin from the heavens. So it's just like, I do like the fact that they tied in the character's name instead of, we'll talk about this later on when we get to it, The Dark Knight Rises. There's like, oh, I like that name, Robin. Really? That was not a very subtle way to tie it into the character, people.
We will be talking about the absence of Robins in the next part.
Yes. Also, Dr. Meridian Chase. Really creepy. She is a bat stalker. She literally looks like she wants to grab Batman and just make out with him upon the first meeting.
Yeah. Weird choice.
Also, Dr. Meridian Chase, not in the comics at all. She's a complete original character. Also, it's like Bruce Wayne and it's like Val Kilmer and Nicole Kidman. They have no chemistry.
Which you kind of need if you're going to be both a sequel
And a slight reboot. And it's like, you know, Bruce Wayne is
A C-boot.
Z-boot. Z-boot. But yeah, it's like when you have
That's a boo, but okay.
I know, hence the joke. But it's like you go from Selena Kyle and Bruce Wayne, who Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Keaton have really good chemistry together, and it's like, but then you go from that to this. It was a downgrade. Also, it was very much a shame to see Tommy Lee Jones play Two-Face instead of Billy D. Williams. That would have been great. I love Billy D. Williams as an actor. He's fantastic. I think he would have been great as Two-Face. But to swap it to Tommy Lee Jones, who... Okay. Two-Face is definitely an iconic Batman character because he was a district attorney. He was very by the book, but he also suffered. He did suffer from a dual personality, where there was another voice in his head, who in the Batman animated series called it Big Bad Harv, who essentially wanted him to do horrible things.
because playing by the rules didn't work out for him.
Yep. And then during a court case, acid is thrown in his face, and the dual personality is present all the time.
It's a trauma response. One
and-
could argue that the entire city of Gotham is just one giant trauma response.
Yeah.
It's cursed.
And then, in order to decide whether or not his victim lives or dies, he flips a coin and decides what to do with based on the outcome of the coin. Two-Face in this movie disregards the coin completely and just does whatever he wants. And basically, his outfit is ridiculous. The makeup looks terrible. Tommy Lee Jones is completely miscast in the role. He just acts like a buffoon, something he'd call Jim Carrey, and it just they did not get the concept of the character at all.
Tommy Lee Jones would have worked out so much better as a detective or police officer.
Or if he actually,
Like Commissioner Gordon.
or
Yeah.
if they actually introduced him as Harvey Dent, that would have been fine, in the first movie, but they didn't. So, and then I love Jim Carrey. I love him very much. And while I do like a lot of the lines he has in this movie, especially, riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big bad bat? Or, who has bats on the brain? But ultimately, and while he does get the concept of the character of the Riddler, again, he just acts a little too silly to be the Riddler. I mean, the fact that his box turns him into the Riddler, and he wants to get people's bank cards and stuff through the box, through their minds, and then he absorbs all the info and it's
Mysterio.
a really bad Mysterio.
But it is Mysterio. It is Riddler trying to be Mysterio.
Yeah. So ultimately,
Costuming for Riddler was pretty good.
yeah, his first appear. Yeah, they definitely got the green suit and everything, but his outfit in the final battle was definitely no. I didn't like it. So yeah, ultimately, I do agree with Tori. It was just like Batman Forever was okay. Wasn't as good as the predecessor. It wasn't terrible, but they definitely miscast a lot of the characters, and ultimately it did not hold a candle to the previous two movies.
No.
Now, I will agree with Tori. This and Batman and Robin are the, shall we say, outliers in terms of the increasing seriousness of the movies. These are the outliers.
Mm-hmm.
Because they went
the other way.
Yeah.
But because they went the other way and they didn't do it well enough, Hollywood decided we need to overcorrect.
Yeah. So let's get into Batman and Robin.
So, just to get it out of the way, I will out myself. This is my favorite Batman movie. Partially because it was the first one I ever saw, and partially because it was the first one, in my opinion, that had what I felt was a comic book feel to it. The colors and the weird angles that the city was shown at, and the buildings that literally just drop off into a cliff, because why not? And for me, it felt more comic book.
Well, it's funny that you bring that up, because Batman co-creator Bob Kane was an official consultant and was heavily involved in the production of this movie, hence why a lot of designs were the way that they were. But with the success of Batman, although it was middle reviews, Batman Forever was a financial success, and Warner Brothers wanted to fast-track the sequel. However, again, like Colin said, they overcorrected by completely going the other way, and Schumacher even said Warner Brothers executives told him to make the film more toyetic. In other words, everything was inspired to make toys.
Marketing!
Action figures, play sets.
Marketing department.
Yes or no?
Like I said before, the only two cast members to return for all four movies was Michael Gough as Alfred Pennyworth and Pat Hingle as Commissioner Jim Gordon. They essentially fired Val Kilmer because Joe Schumacher hated working with him, and instead cast George Clooney as Bruce Wayne and Batman. And Schumacher felt, and I quote, Clooney brought a real humanity and humor to the piece. Yeah, humor, you say?
Oh, sorry. There's a American Express commercial in the movie. How much funnier do you want it? Never leave the cave without it.
That was a really stupid line.
It wasn't, because at that time, that was the go-to. All the American Express commercials of that time period were never leave home without it. Never leave home without it.
You say of that time period. This is the year I was born.
Yes, I know. We're old. Anyway, so you have an auction where Bruce Wayne where Batman and Robin are fighting over poison ivy, and Bruce Wayne, Batman as Bruce Wayne, has more money than anyone else in Gotham, and there's no way that Robin's ever gonna win this thing. But I mean, just the number keeps going up, and they keep going back and forth. You don't have the money. I'll borrow it from you. And it's like, you don't have that money. And he pulls out the card, never leave the cave without it.
But you have...
It was a great commercial.
Again, commercial. It would have been fine as a commercial, not a plot point in a feature film.
It's not a plot point.
I will play devil's advocate here.
It's not a plot point. It's a funny bit.
Justin?
They should not have it in a feature film.
Justin? I will play devil's advocate here on this scene by mentioning one thing from Adam West. Bat shark repellent.
Okay. Okay. I want to get into this later, but we'll get into this now. Alright, fine. I love the Adam West TV series.
I do too.
It is ridiculous. It
It is hilarious. I love it. That is, it's like Tori said it before. That's like that was when superheroes were fun, and they were funny. I mean, Burt Ward's, holy heart attack, Batman.
Holy metal floors, Batman.
What?
Metal floor.
It's holy. Oh, that's a line for Batman Forever. But anyway, I love that series. I was so sad when Adam West died. I actually bought the complete TV show and I watched it when he died. However, with that being said, going from a dark and somewhat gritty story from Michael Keaton's Batman movies, and then going complete 180 to the Adam West TV show, essentially a theatrical adaptation of the Adam West TV show, but it's supposed to be in the same universe without any sort of irony whatsoever, was a really stupid idea.
He's right.
Both of you in timeout.
All right. So, but going back to the cast list here for a second. Chris O'Donnell returned as Dick Grayson, and let me just say, if you thought Dick Grayson was whiny in Batman Forever, he is super whiny in this movie. He every time he's like, "Why don't I get a car?"
Because your whiny
Shut up, Wesley.
attitude. Because your whiny attitude won't get you the girl either.
Alicia Silverstone was cast as Batgirl. I forget what her name actually is in the movie. She is Alfred Pennyworth's niece. Somehow.
Barbara Pennyworth.
Okay. But yet.
Because we couldn't have Barbara Gordon.
Yeah, because Commissioner Gordon was set aside to side character status. We mentioned her before. Uma Thurman was cast as Poison Ivy.
Which was a great
I will say Uma
creation of a villain.
Yeah, Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy was pretty good.
10 out of 10.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was cast as Mr. Freeze. That was a stupid choice.
But
I love Arnold Schwarzenegger.
But it's a memorable one.
I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, but the amount of if you ever made a drinking game about how many ice puns there are in this movie, you'd be on the floor.
It comes with a Surgeon General's warning.
I mean, what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age! Oh my god. So stupid.
So many dad jokes, and yet no parents around.
Ouch.
That was a combination of well-timed and harsh.
Yes.
That was well-timed, but harsh.
But what's also really sad, what's really stupid about Mr. Freeze, not only is Arnold Schwarzenegger being cast, also his costume was utterly ridiculous.
I'm sorry, I'm just keep looking around the room when you say Mr. Freeze and stupid because our cats are roaming in and out of that
There
room.
he is.
And I don't want our cat to think you think he's stupid.
No, I don't think our cat, Mr. Freeze, is stupid.
That's right, Freezy.
However,
Yes, one of our cats is named Mr. Freeze because why?
We found him in an air conditioning unit.
Yes.
Anyway, but they tried to keep the serious origin that they had for Mr. Freeze, where his wife is struck by a terrible illness. In order to save her, he cryogenically froze her until he created a cure. However, he gets thrown into a vat of chemicals, which, by the way, a lot of villains are created by a vat of chemicals.
Come with me and you'll be
In a world of OSHA violations.
And then he steals diamonds in order to not only power his suit, but to fund his research to find a cure for his wife. But yet Arnold Schwarzenegger having ice puns in one half of the movie and then trying to be dramatic with a dying wife. Again, complete tonal shift. Holy tonal shift, Batman.
Meanwhile, in pretty much every animated adaptation I've seen of the character, he's not funny in any sense of the word. He is a threat. The moment people start seeing their breath in the air, they know, oh no, we're gonna die.
Yeah, he, for lack of a better word, and pardon the pun, Mr. Freeze is cold. He is very calculating. He is not funny. He has no sense of humor. He speaks in a...
You could say he's as cold as ice.
Yes. You're as cold as ice. Yes.
Tis.
But that's the whole point of the character.
He's under pressure.
That's only if it was played by David Bowie. But he is supposed to be a very dark, tragic character who, while may not be a full-on bad guy, he does bad things, but he does it for... He's a bad guy. That doesn't mean he's a bad guy. But, again, to have one half of his origin story be like this dark, serious story, and then having Arnold Schwarzenegger hamming it up and having ice puns throughout the rest of it, again, you need... That disconnect is really not working.
Also, having... Also, Bane's in this.
Yes, as a brutish sidekick for Poison Ivy.
Now, one important thing, if you're going to have villains team up, there needs to be...
A reason.
There needs to be there needs to be some shared goal here. One of them wants to turn the entire planet into a forest. The other one wants to turn the entire planet into an ice cube. I don't think these two are conducive to working together.
No, the only reason why they work together is because they don't like they hate Batman. Also, Bane in this movie is just a muscle-bound idiot who works for Poison Ivy, which is a complete slap in the face of the Bane in the comics, who is the only one that actually physically and mentally broke the Batman.
And one day, we will discuss the better Bane, but that day is not today.
So
that one also has problems.
Yes, but still.
But that's a different set of problems. So... And yeah, going back to the George Clooney thing for a second, brought humor to the role. His entire face throughout the entire movie is deadpan. He does not even... He smiles, but that is his only expression throughout the whole movie. Yeah, he definitely brought a lot of humor to the role, didn't he?
I like it.
Ultimately, we're going to have to agree to disagree on this.
This is one of those movies that I'm allowed to watch when I'm sick and don't feel well. If you are in a married or committed relationship, you probably have experiences where you and your partner disagree on something, and you save those moments for things like that. So if I'm sick, I get to watch Batman and Robin. Otherwise, I have to wait for him to leave the house.
I also want to say, in terms of this being the technically fourth in a line of movies, even though we've recast the main guy twice, and there's only two characters who are still themselves by the end of it. What? Things got really weird really quickly. So we started off with the Joker. Okay, criminal, minor terrorism. Then we went with Riddler and
Two-Face.
Two-Face, or no, then we went to
Catwoman
Penguin.
and Penguin.
Okay, still crime, still terrorism. Then Riddler and Two-Face, crime, terrorism, all that. And then we went eco-terrorism.
It was the 90s.
The 90s were all about the environment. All right, we have kind of reached a little over our time limit here. Tune in next week where we'll be talking about the Nolan Batman movies, as well as Batman v Superman, if we have time.
Same bat time, same bat channel. Not sponsored or affiliated.
Not sponsored in any way,
Affiliated.
shape, or form.
But perfect segue.
Bye.